What's up, everyone? Welcome back to Elita Racing. So today we're going to be doing a little bit different video. I've been working on the golf cart a lot lately, and today we're going to actually mix it up, and we are going to work on the Maverick. And what we're going to be doing is we're going to be putting on a fan override switch. It's a kit that I bought, and we're just going to go ahead and show you real quick. Real nice kit. Switch, harness, everything's all pre-wired. Comes with the power cable, the wire loom, the lugs to put on the end. So this is a 100% complete kit, ready to go. You don't need to buy anything else for this. Real nice kit. I'm going to put a link in the description below on where I purchased it from. I got this off eBay. It was less than $50. There's other companies out there that are selling this exact same kit for over $130. So this is a great deal, and it is 100% plug and play. All you have to do is crimp on your lug and put that right there on the end of the power wire, hook that up to your battery, and you're good to go. This is a start to finish. I would say you could do this whole install in less than a half an hour. So I wanted to show you the kit real quick, everything that comes in it, and then let's go ahead and jump on over to the Maverick, and we'll start installing this, and I'll go over the steps required to do this. So once again, this is going to be a fan override install kit, and we're going to do a little bit of an instructional video on how to install this on your Maverick. This will also work on the Can-Am Commander also. So if you have a Can-Am Commander or you have a Can-Am Maverick, this will work for either one of those. If you have an X3, that's going to be a different harness. So this will not work on the X3, it will work on the Maverick and on the Commander. So first and foremost, you got to pull your front end off, and that's going to be, or your, whatever you want to call it, you know, your hood or your access panel. Now if you have a naturally aspirated Maverick, or you have a naturally aspirated Commander, which that's the only way the Commanders come, you would have your air box here where I have my remotely mounted battery. So that would, yours is going to look a little bit different than mine. This is a turbo model. If you've watched my previous videos, you know all about my Maverick, Project Beastmaster. So you've seen the installs on that. If you haven't, check out my old videos, and I've done a lot of cool stuff on this, and you might be able to learn a little bit. So anyway, once you pull your access panel off and expose this, I went ahead and I put a light. You're going to need a light. It's a little bit dark, it's hard to see in there, but if you look down, you can see your plug right there. And I'm going to try to show this to you without getting in the way of the camera. But this plug right here, that is your fan harness, your plug. And you can get this from the outside as well. You can reach your hand in through the outside of the fender, and it's got a clip that holds it on to the fan shroud. And basically all you've got to do is unplug this, and that new harness that I showed you is going to plug and play onto that, and that's how you achieve the override. So you're going to have to unplug that, and then you're going to have to go in here, and you're going to have to pull your center console off to access your switch panel, because you got to put your switch in here, and then you got to run your wires. So I just want to kind of go over a little bit quick rundown first, and then we're going to go ahead and we're going to start to tear into this and actually do the install. Now, as far as tools are required, you're going to need your Torx driver to pull this off, and I believe this is a T20 or a T25. I'll have to verify that. So you're going to need your Torx driver to pull the center console off, and then you're going to need a set of crimpers to crimp that lug on the end of this wire, and then you're also going to need to have a wrench or whatever in order to hook up your positive wire to your battery. Now for me, with me having the front mounted battery, it's going to be real easy, because I'm going to basically mount that right there. This is kind of like my distribution spot right here, so my positive wire is going to go right there, and then I can leave all that harness all nice and coiled up. You, on the other hand, if you have not installed a front mount battery like I have, you're going to be running that red wire to your underside of the driver's side to the kick panel where the stock battery location is, and you'll have to do your power tap there. So let's go ahead and grab some tools, and we'll pull that center console off, and let's get going. Alright, so I went ahead and I kind of placed the harness inside the side by side, and basically what I went ahead and did was I hooked up the two fan the plugs, and that's hooked up, and then I went ahead and prepped inside here. Now what you're going to need to do, like I said, this has to come off. Your center console needs to come off. That's going to be two Torx T25 Torx, and then you also have to pull off those awesome clips. There's one on each side, and then this will come right off. Once you get this off, it's going to expose your mounts or your slots for your switches. I have all mine used up. You'll have some blanks where they have some inserts that they put in there for the unused ones. That just pops right out, and then you'll be able to put your switch in there. So basically, switch just snaps in. I mean, this is all pretty much, there's not really a wrong way to do it. I mean, obviously if you're not paying attention, you could put it in upside down, but you know. So your switch just snaps into whichever slot you choose, and then what you're going to need to do is you're going to need to feed the other end of that harness up through there. So you've got your whole harness, you know, it's all ready to go. Feed that up through, and you're going to want to make sure that you unravel enough of the power cable to reach the positive side of the battery. Now, like I said before, if you don't have a front mount battery, yours is going to be underneath the kick panel, underneath the driver's side. So you're going to need a lot more length than what I'm needing. But you plug it in, go up and put it up over, reach up there, and they don't give you a whole lot of extra. That's one thing I'm a little bit surprised on this kit. This wire really needs to be a tiny bit longer, because I've got it pretty much routed the only way you can route it. And if you look right here, I mean, this is tight. I don't even know if this is going to reach. I might have to route this a different way, because it looks like they're not giving me enough length. I guess if I go underneath this bar, that might gain me a little bit of length. We can try that. But there's no moving that harness or anything like that. You don't have any option on that. Pull that through. Fish it up there. If you had a buddy to help you, this would be a time when a buddy would come in handy. One thing I did forget to mention is when you're doing this, I would highly recommend using dielectric grease on those plugs. They have a gasket and they are watertight, but a little bit of dielectric grease just gives you a little bit of extra insurance, and it also will help prevent corrosion and stuff like that from forming on those plugs. So yeah, by rerouting that, they gave me a little bit more slack. I'm going to go ahead and I'll plug that in. Alright, so we got this all hooked up, and I figured out what the problem was. When you do this, what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to route the harness up. You're going to want to hook it onto the switch and then the panel, and then put that back in place, and then you're going to want to go and hook up your plugs on the fan harness. So by hooking that up first, that wasn't giving me the slack that I needed in order to hook that up. Once I disconnected that, hooked it up, put it into place, and then those snapped right together, and I had plenty of length to do that. So that was my error on that one. Now the only other thing we got to do is I've got my power wire routed. I'll get this crimped. I'm going to put a new end on this, and one of the supplied ends that they give you, and then this is just going to go right to the positive of the battery. They give you multiple sizes, so depending on which setup you have will determine which one of those ends that they give you. I'm going to need the little bit larger size because I'm going to this lug on the battery post right here, or terminal. So we'll go ahead and get this crimped on, and then we'll get this hooked up and give her a test. Alright, so we got the power wire hooked up to the battery. As you notice, I've got the fuse holder open. When they sent this kit, they only put, I don't know if it's by mistake or by design, but they had only put a 10 amp fuse in there, which in my opinion is way too low. I went up to a 15. I think it should probably have a 20. A 10 amp fuse is too low for a fan, because at initial startup a fan's going to draw a decent amount of amps, probably 25 amps at startup, until it gets spooled up, and then it will drop down to probably 8 amps. So a 10 amp fuse is in my opinion is too low. So needless to say, it popped it as soon as I turned it on. I put the 15 amp in, and everything is good to go, and I'll go ahead and I'll show you that in here in a second. But I just wanted to have that open so you could see. So we've got our positive wire hooked up to the positive side of the battery. There is our plugs right there, and those are all one way. You can only hook them up one way. There's a male plug and a female plug. It's foolproof as far as that goes. You are going to have to do, like I said, you are going to have to hook up your switch first, put your cluster back in place, and then you can do your wiring at the fan. So there's your override, and then this will also, if you don't ever want to use this, this will just turn on normally. When you're riding and it gets warm, it'll come on. But the nice thing about these overrides, and the reason that I got this, is I do hill climbing, I do trail crawling, where you're just kind of going through the woods, and you're rock climbing and stuff like that, where you're moving slow. And Can-Ams by design run hot, and I think this is just nice because you can turn this on, especially with the turbo model, turn it on, keep it cool, and then it's something. It's a little bit cheap insurance, especially if you're mud bogging or stuck and whatever. Rather than it getting boiling hot, turning on, you can turn this on, you can keep it nice and cool. So that was the reason why I got this. But it's a nice feature, and for the money it's a no-brainer. But so we got it all done. Now once you're done, like I said, you're going to remember you got to put your T25s back up here. You've got your side clips there, and then that will be all done. And then I would highly recommend the dielectric grease on the plug. And then I'm also going to go ahead and kind of route this a little bit better, and I'm going to zip tie that. I think you know by now that I'm pretty anal about that as far as for zip tying and stuff like that. You don't want stuff moving around, plugs come undone, and wires can get chafed, and it's a good idea to secure things properly, and it will keep you from having trouble down the road. So yeah, I mean, that's pretty much it. This is just a fan override, and I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put a link down below on where I got this from, and it's under $50, and start to finish this is something you could do. I mean, I would say in a half an hour. If you had somebody to help you, you could do this thing really quick. It's very simple, all plug and play, and it's a great kit, and I highly recommend it. So as always, please like and subscribe, turn on your notifications. I'm going to be kind of jumping back and forth between this and the golf cart. The next thing I'm going to be doing on the Maverick is I do have rock sliders for this, and if you're a Maverick guy, please check back, because I'm going to be doing an install on some rock sliders. And I've had people message me and they want to know how I got my box to fit on this. That's the standard Maverick box. They don't make a box for a Turbo Maverick. So that is a standard Mavericks box that I had to modify. I'm going to pull that off, and I'm going to do a video on that as well to kind of show you guys what had to be done in order for you to have a box for when you go trail riding or whatever. It's good to have the box to keep emergency stuff in there. So please like, subscribe, turn on your notifications, and for everybody that's watching, thank you. I really appreciate it. And I'll talk to you soon.